Our house suddenly caught fire, but my wife only saved her first love's son, leaving our daughter to die in the flames. The grief was so overwhelming I passed out. When I came to, I had actually returned to the very day my wife brought her first love and his son into our home. This time, I didn't hesitate. I flipped the table and demanded a divorce. I took my daughter and rushed to City A to start over. I want to see how this woman can support those two ungrateful freeloaders without me, the idiot who once sacrificed everything for her. Chapter 1. I've made up my mind. I want a divorce. I'll go to City A with you. Really? A surprised voice came from the other end, followed by a confused question. George, what made you suddenly change your mind? It's nothing. I've just finally seen things clearly. My voice was calm, betraying no emotion. All right, George, I've got the divorce papers ready. I'll come pick you up tomorrow night. After hanging up, I let out a long, deep breath. My eyes slowly drifted to a photo of my daughter. Memories from my past life came flooding in. In my previous life, our home was engulfed in a sudden blaze. I rushed back, nearly mad with panic, trying to charge into the fire. That's when I saw my wife, Maria, and her childhood sweetheart, Makoto, staggering out while carrying his son, Lucas. I frantically asked Maria where our daughter was, only to be shoved aside as she followed Makoto to the hospital without a second glance. In the end, I nearly died dragging our unconscious daughter out from the edge of the inferno. I ran to the hospital like a lunatic, clutching her in my arms, only to be told at the emergency room that all available doctors had been called by Maria to treat Lucas instead. Laughter rang out from Lucas's ward. You've really got to remember to turn off the gas next time. If she hadn't rushed in to save you, you'd be a goner. She's basically your second mom. Thank you, Mommy Maria. Just then, a nurse ran over in a panic. Mr. Wong, your daughter has missed her best window for treatment. You should prepare for the worst. My vision went black, and I lost consciousness. When I woke again, my eyes landed on the old-style calendar in the living room, May 14th, 1998. I had returned to 10 years ago, the very day Makoto, the man who destroyed my family, first stepped into our home. I was shaken, excited, and filled with anticipation. That's when my daughter Alicia ran over and grabbed my hand, looking up at me with teary eyes. Daddy, I'm hungry. I picked up my perfectly safe daughter, eyes brimming with emotion. Okay, Daddy will make you something to eat. This time, I will protect you, no matter what. Soon, I had 4 dishes and a soup ready, and looked at Alicia with a gentle smile. Come on, Daddy will tear you a drumstick. Just as I reached for the chicken, a sharp voice rang out from the doorway. George, put that down. I looked up and saw Maria standing there with Makoto and a little boy. She rushed over and shoved me aside. George, who said you could touch the food first? Alicia was so scared she started hiccuping. I'm sorry, Mommy. I was hungry. So Daddy, even if you're hungry, you hold it in. Were you reincarnated as a starving ghost or something? The guests haven't even sat down, and you're already rushing to eat. No manners at all. I pulled Alicia behind me and stared coldly at Maria. Maria, what's wrong with letting a child have a chicken leg? Do you really have to treat her like that? Maria scoffed, her voice full of disdain. I'm teaching her how to behave. If she grows up without discipline, she'll be just like you, completely useless. My knuckles turned white, and my chest heaved with fury. Makoto stepped in, pretending to be gentle. Maria, she's just a kid. Let it go. Maria quickly put on a smile. Sorry you had to see that. Makoto then removed his sunglasses and arrogantly extended a hand to me. You must be George, right? Nice to meet you. I'm Makoto, Maria's first love. I froze for a second and looked at Maria with a steely gaze. In my heart, I thought, in my previous life, I bent over backwards trying to please her, doing whatever she asked. In the end, that only led to our destruction. Maria, this time, I will not make the same mistake again. At that moment, Maria's face darkened when she saw I didn't react at all. George, why are you just standing there? Don't you have any manners? I curled my lips into a sneer and replied, manners are for people who deserve them. They don't. Makoto awkwardly withdrew his hand and let out a fake sigh of helplessness, though his eyes were full of provocation. Then he added, Maria, looks like George isn't too happy to see us. Maybe we should just leave. I immediately picked up the words with a cold chuckle. Exactly, I don't welcome you. So how about you get out of my house and go back to wherever you crawled from? George, Maria slammed her hand on the table, her voice rising sharply. What's wrong with you? Makoto just got back from the south, and this is how you treat him. I was about to explode when Alicia gently tugged at my sleeve, her little face pale. Daddy, don't be angry. I looked down at her, and the rage in my eyes vanished in an instant. I closed my eyes, swallowed the fury, and softly stroked her hair. Come on, Alicia, let's eat. Maria gave a cold snort and pulled Makoto over to sit down. No manners whatsoever. The guests haven't even sat, and you already took your seat. Everything you do reeks of ignorance and poor upbringing. Hurry up. You've been traveling for hours. You must be tired. Let's eat first. I ignored Maria's snide remarks and focused on watching my daughter eat, feeling a deep sense of relief. There's still time. I can still fix everything. At the table, Maria fawned over Makoto, completely ignoring Alicia and me. Makoto, I've already leased the ballroom in town and started renovating it just the way you wanted. It'll be ready to open soon. Maria, you're too good to me, but that's a lot of money. Don't worry about the money. I took out a loan from the bank by mortgaging the house. Hearing this, I could no longer stay calm. I slammed my chopsticks on the table with a loud crack. Maria, everything in this house was earned through my hard work. What right do you have to make decisions without me? Did I ever agree to this? Maria smirked and gave me a contemptuous glance. Do I need your permission? What else can you do besides labor jobs? This money invested in Makoto's dance hall will definitely make a fortune. What would you know? Maria, are you out of your mind? There are barely any people in this town. Opening a dance hall here is a guaranteed money pit. Otherwise, why would someone be so eager to let you take it over? You're full of crap, Maria snapped. Throwing her chopsticks down, Makoto immediately stepped in, acting all sincere and reassuring. Maria, don't worry, I've done all the research. Ballroom dancing is trending in the big cities, and it'll soon catch on here. As long as we move early, we'll definitely succeed. Maria's eyes lit up as she looked at him with admiration. I knew it. With someone as smart as you leading the way, it's only a matter of time before we make it big. He's just jealous. He's useless himself and can't stand seeing others succeed. I was so angry I actually laughed. Great, great, great. Maria, if you want to jump off a cliff, no one can stop you. But when you can't pay back the loan, don't come crying to me. George, whether I regret it or not is none of your business. Makoto pretended to comfort her by patting her back. Maria, don't get upset because of me and George. It's not worth it. I just can't stand the way he hoards money. Stuck in this dump his whole life. Totally pathetic, Maria said with scornful eyes. Maria, don't you know exactly why I stayed in this town all these years? I stood up suddenly, my voice loud, disappointment and rage mixing in my eyes. 2 years ago. George, are you really not coming with me to City A? The internet boom is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You can't afford to miss it. I looked troubled. I want to go too. It's just, before I could finish, Maria stormed over in a fury. Go where? George, if you dare walk out that door, we're done. I'll divorce you. All I could do was look helplessly at David, forcing a bitter smile. David adjusted his glasses and stood up with regret. George, I won't get involved in your family issues, but if you ever decide to come, just give me a call. No matter how far I get, the second-in-command seat is always yours. Seeing my hesitation, David added, George, don't be shy with me. If it weren't for you dragging me out of that river when we were kids, I'd probably be long dead by now. Chapter 2. At that moment, a flood of harsh curses yanked me back to reality. George, a capable person can earn money anywhere. If you're useless, you're still a piece of trash even if you go abroad. You must have taken the wrong meds today, picking fights one after another. Looks like you're asking for a beating again. Huh. Maria reached out to slap me, but I grabbed her wrist midair and flung it aside with force. Maria, you'd better stop provoking me. Maria's eyes widened in disbelief. George, why you dare fight back against me? Seeing this, Makoto quickly stepped between us to soothe Maria. Come on, Maria. George is still a man after all. Capable or not, you should at least give him a little dignity. Makoto, who do you think you're being all sarcastic with? This is my family's business, not your place to meddle. I shot back with a sneer. George, what the hell is wrong with you today? Makoto's speaking up for you. What kind of attitude is that? I pushed my tongue against the inside of my cheek and let out a scornful laugh, and asked back, do I need him too? Maria was left speechless. At that moment, Lucas tugged on Maria's clothes and asked, Mommy Maria, can we eat now? Maria instantly put on a soft, gentle face. All right, let's eat. We're eating. Smiling sweetly, Maria tore off a chicken drumstick from the soup pot, her face full of doting affection. Here, sweetheart, have a drumstick. Alicia's eyes lit up with excitement and she quickly raised her bowl, moving it forward, but Maria completely ignored her daughter and placed the drumstick right into Lucas's bowl. Alicia's smile froze. She slowly lowered the bowl she was holding, her eyes full of disappointment. Sweetheart, have a taste. This is the only hen in Maria Mommy's house, saved just for you. No one else gets to eat it. Lucas proudly gnawed on the drumstick and shook his head playfully at Alicia. You're not getting any. Alicia's eyes welled up with tears. She choked back a sob and cried, Mom. Maria didn't even lift an eyelid. Her tone was laced with scolding. Alicia, be more sensible. Lucas is your guest. You have to give way to him. I suddenly felt the veins on my forehead bulge, and my voice dropped low and cold. Maria, who is really your child here? George, Lucas is used to eating gourmet delicacies in the big city. I'm just worried he won't be used to the food here, Maria explained with a frown. If he's not used to it, then let him go hungry. Maria slammed the table, making the dishes clatter. George, can't you be a bit more ambitious? Why are you arguing with a child? He's a child. Then what about Alicia? I pointed at Alicia, who was quietly sobbing, and questioned her. Maria couldn't utter a word. Makoto quickly held Maria's hand. Don't be upset. Don't be upset, Maria. It's just a chicken drumstick. No need to get angry. Look, there's still another one, right? Maria stood up and tore off the other chicken drumstick. Alicia bit her lip and looked at her longingly, but Maria placed the drumstick into Makoto's bowl. Makoto, this one's for you. Isn't chicken drumstick your favorite? Makoto blushed slightly and smiled. Didn't expect you to remember that. Maria's cheeks suddenly flushed red. Did you forget? One night, you brought me a chicken drumstick and said that besides me, The thing you loved most in this world was chicken. Yes, yes, yes. Makoto excitedly grabbed her hand. And later, in that little grove, you even gave me your first kiss. Maria gently pushed Makoto away, her eyes glimmering flirtatiously. Oh come on, why are you bringing that up? Makoto seemed to suddenly remember my presence and quickly let go of her hand. Look at me. I got so carried away I forgot George was here too. He looked at me cautiously. George, I didn't mean it like that, please don't take it the wrong way. Maria shot me a disdainful glance, her face full of contempt. What's there to mind? I didn't even know him back then. I ignored them, picking up my chopsticks and continued putting food into my daughter's bowl. Just then, Lucas suddenly tossed his gnawed chicken drumstick at Alicia. Tastes awful, you stingy brat, take it back. Maria quickly rushed to comfort Lucas. Okay, you don't have to eat it. Then she turned around and shoved the saliva-covered chicken leg in front of Alicia. Alicia, there's still some left, go ahead and eat it, don't waste it. Tears of humiliation welled up in Alicia's eyes. Maria, you're telling your daughter to eat his leftovers. But Maria rolled her eyes and picked up the largest shrimp, dropping it into Lucas's bowl. What's with the drama? Eat it or don't. Here, Lucas, have this. Crash. I couldn't take it anymore. Furious, I stood up and flipped the table, dishes shattered all over the floor. Eat. I'll let you eat. George, have you lost your mind? Maria staggered back, her high heels stepping into the spilled soup, disbelief filling her eyes. I've lost my mind. I raised the chicken, I cooked the food, and my daughter can't even have a drumstick, she has to scavenge for someone else's leftovers. Maria, what do you think this is, a charity meal for beggars? If that's how it is, then no one's eating anything. My roar cracked through the air like thunder. Maria's face turned pale, then red with fury. After a long silence, she finally squeezed out her words through clenched teeth. Fine, very fine. George, you've really grown some balls. With that, she yanked Lucas's hand. Lucas, we're leaving. Mommy Maria will take you to eat fried chicken. And then, bang, the door slammed shut behind them. Alicia stared at Maria's departing figure, tears falling like a string of broken pearls. Daddy, does Mommy not want Alicia anymore? Her words pierced straight into my heart like a knife. The corner of my eye twitched uncontrollably, and I took a long, deep breath. Alicia, don't cry. Alicia, if Daddy takes you away from Mommy, would you be willing to go? Without the slightest hesitation, Alicia nodded and clung tightly to the corner of my shirt with her tiny hands. As long as I'm with Daddy, Alicia will go anywhere. I dropped to one knee and gently wiped the tears from her cheeks with my rough, calloused hand. Don't worry, Alicia. From now on, Daddy won't let you suffer like this again. As I spoke, I turned my head coldly toward the door, my eyes sharp and icy. In my heart, I thought, I never wanted Alicia to grow up without a mother, but I never expected you wouldn't even spare her a shred of motherly love. Maria, don't you dare regret this. After a long while, the three of them returned home laughing and chatting. I glanced at them as they came in. Lucas was holding a brand new toy in his hand. Then Lucas rubbed his eyes and suddenly asked, Mommy Maria, where does Lucas sleep? Be a good boy, Lucas. You'll sleep in your little sister's room for now. Maria spoke softly and casually pointed toward Alicia's bedroom. Lucas made a face at Alicia, then swaggered off toward the room. Alicia abruptly looked up, her eyes full of grievance as she turned to Maria. Mommy, what about Daddy and me? Maria avoided Alicia's gaze, her eyes dodging and uncertain. You too, George, since Makoto and the others just got back, they don't have a place to stay. They'll be staying here for now. You and Alicia can sleep in the main hall tonight, just make a bed on the floor and make do for a bit. I sneered and asked coldly, and what if I say no? George, can't you be a little more generous? It's just for a few days. A few days, Maria. Maybe try thinking before you speak for once. Maria was trembling with rage. George, living under the same roof as someone as outstanding as Makoto is a privilege for you. Don't be so ungrateful. I looked at her, my expression icy and eyes filled with scorn. Oh really? Crash. A loud, jarring sound of glass shattering suddenly rang out. Everyone was startled and turned in unison toward Alicia's room. Chapter 3. My origami cranes. They were a gift for Dad. I spent so long folding them just right. I hate you. The glass jar shattered on the floor. Alicia squatted down, crying, carefully picking up the scattered paper cranes in heartbreak. Lucas stood to the side, curling his lip arrogantly, and raised his foot to stomp on another perfectly folded crane. I hate you too. Alicia lunged forward, trying to shield the fragile cranes. This was the scene we walked into as the three of us opened the door. I hurried over to help Alicia up, while Maria pulled Lucas into her arms and tried to comfort him softly. Daddy, he destroyed my paper cranes. I hate him. Alicia clutched the crumpled crane in her hands, crying her heart out. I gently wiped her tears, my chest aching for her. Maria, however, looked up in displeasure. Alicia, how can you say that to your brother? That's so rude. Apologize to him, now. Mom, Alicia didn't do anything wrong. He bullied me first. Maria's eyes turned cold as she shot Alicia a warning glare. Alicia, are you disobeying me now? Lucas lifted his chin smugly. Humph, so stingy. Apologize to me. The veins in my temple throbbed. I pulled my daughter behind me protectively. Shut your mouth. Maria, if your eyes are that useless, I might as well pluck them out and use them as light bulbs. Alicia, don't cry. Daddy's here. No one's going to bully you. Maria was momentarily speechless, choking on her words. Makoto quickly stepped forward, pretending to scold. Lucas, were you being naughty again? Lucas pointed arrogantly at me and my daughter. Daddy, I don't like them. Make them leave. Makoto looked at Maria with an awkward expression. Maria, maybe we should just go. I shouldn't have brought Lucas here in the first place. Before he could finish, Maria cut him off. It's too late. It's not safe outside. And besides, you just got back. Where would you even go? Then she turned to me with a glare. You too, hurry up and apologize to Lucas. I clenched my fists, my voice turning to ice. Maria, do you really think I'm someone without a temper? Maria suddenly stepped forward and slapped me across the face. George, have I been too soft on you? I stared at her in shock, then shouted her name with a roar. Ma-ri-a. Each syllable was forced out through gritted teeth, full of burning rage. Maria stepped back in fear. Alicia's face was pale with fright. She clung to me, crying, Daddy, please don't. Makoto stepped in at that moment, looking helpless, speaking softly. Maria, maybe just let it go. There's not enough room here anyway. I'll take Lucas to the guest house in town. Makoto made as if to leave, but Maria quickly grabbed him and turned to me, her tone easing slightly. George, I'll let that little scene just now slide, but you two need to give up this room. Makoto and Lucas are used to life in the big city. Their health is delicate. You can't expect them to sleep on the floor, right? Besides, we've been sleeping in separate rooms for years. I'm not used to having anyone next to me anymore. So, can't you just make do for now? At that moment, Lucas looked at Alicia and me with even more arrogance. I'm going to sleep. You two, get out of my room, now. Alicia looked pitifully at Maria, but Maria guiltily averted her gaze and avoided eye contact. George, just take Alicia out for now. Lucas needs to rest. Maria, do you even realize what you're doing? George, are you possessed today or something? If you keep this up, I'll really get mad. Get out, now. The veins in my arm bulged. I was just about to argue when Alicia gently tugged on my shirt. Daddy, it's okay. We're leaving soon anyway. It doesn't matter where we sleep tonight. I looked at her with pain in my eyes and sighed. Before we go, let Daddy take you somewhere else to sleep. All right. Alicia gripped my hand tightly and nodded firmly. The smile that had been forming on Maria's lips froze instantly. Leave. You're trying to run away over something this trivial. George, are you serious right now? Without another word, I turned around and started to walk out with Alicia. Maria immediately exploded with rage, shouting, George, you think you're so tough now? I paused for a second, then looked back at her. Remember this, Maria, I'll live to see you regret it. I turned away and walked off with my daughter without so much as a glance back. Maria's face turned red with fury as she stomped her foot behind us. George, if you dare leave, I'll divorce you. A cold laugh escaped from beyond the doorway. Fine, let's get divorced. Maria was stunned, left standing there speechless as she watched us leave. Makoto asked hesitantly, Maria, are you really going to divorce George? Of course not. Just wanted to scare him a bit. I still need him to bring in money for the household. The next morning, I walked with Alicia back toward the house. Daddy, once we grab our things, are we never coming back again? I squatted down and gently ruffled her hair. That's right. Uncle David will be here this afternoon. Alicia nodded and followed me into the yard, but the moment we stepped through the gate, we were both stunned. Our clothes had been thrown out at the doorstep, scattered like trash. Daddy, look, that's our stuff. My throat tightened. I hadn't even spoken yet when Maria walked out from inside. She gave a sarcastic laugh. Oh, I thought you two weren't coming back. Maria, what's the meaning of this? I told you yesterday, if you dared to leave, we were getting a divorce. And since we're divorcing, why would your clothes still be in this house? I simply sneered and silently bent down to start picking up the bags. Maria froze, confused, and blurted out, what are you doing? Why aren't you apologizing? Forget it. I don't have the energy to deal with you. She turned to leave, then suddenly turned back as if something had just occurred to her. Oh right, the grand opening of the dance hall is this afternoon. Come with me, I have something to discuss with you. I'm busy. I turned my head, not even looking at her. George, what the hell is wrong with you? This has to do with our future. You have to go. I paused for a moment, my mouth tightening at the corners. In my last life, I was meek and obedient my entire life, and when the dance hall opened, Maria didn't even invite me. Now she suddenly wants me there. She just wants to keep humiliating me in front of everyone. Fine. I slowly looked up, my voice icy cold. Perfect timing. I have something to say to you too. Chapter 4. In the private room of the dance hall, the lights were dim and the room buzzed with laughter and chatter. I sat with my daughter in a quiet corner, while Maria and Makoto were seated closely together. Around us, people toasted and drank, the atmosphere lively. Speaking of which, back in the day, Makoto and Maria were the most recognized couple in our performing troupe. Who would have thought they wouldn't end up together? Yeah, such a pity. If Makoto hadn't rushed off for advanced studies elsewhere, George wouldn't have stood a chance. Hearing these remarks, a faint blush crept across Maria's face. Makoto peeled some sunflower seeds and gently placed them into Maria's hand. Oh wow, so thoughtful. Makoto, Don't tell us you two are rekindling your old flame. Makoto smiled without replying, while Maria bashfully lowered her head. I sat watching coldly, my fingers tapping silently on the table. Since we're all gathered here by fate today, why not let Maria and Makoto make up for their past regrets? Someone suddenly slapped the table and proposed it, and the others quickly chimed in. Yeah, exactly. Come on, have a cross-cup toast, consider it a tribute to your once sweet romance. Maria smiled coyly, voice playfully protesting. Oh, stop it, you guys. A flicker of mockery crossed Makoto's face. He turned slightly, putting on an air of chivalry. Maria's married now, and George is right here. Everyone in the room turned to look at me. I curled my lips, shrugged, and spread my hands with an indifferent expression. The crowd kept goading. So what? Everyone in town knows Maria doesn't actually like George. And hey, being married doesn't mean you can't get divorced. Yeah, just drink, just one toast. Alicia tugged on my sleeve, her eyes full of unease. Daddy, maybe we should leave. I gave her a reassuring smile and gently patted her head. It's all right. Uncle David will be here soon. Makoto raised his glass, looking affectionately at Maria. Maria, everyone's being so enthusiastic. How about we just do one toast? Maria stole a glance at me, seeing that I still showed no reaction. She bashfully raised her glass, interlocked arms with Makoto, and downed the drink in one go. The room erupted in laughter and applause. After setting down her glass, Maria gave me a deliberately awkward look. Don't get the wrong idea. It's just a happy occasion and a long overdue reunion. Nothing else. Don't worry, I'm not divorcing you. No problem. Shouldn't the next step be the wedding ceremony? I spread my hands casually. Go on. Don't let me stop you. George, what nonsense are you spouting? Maria looked flustered and quickly averted her eyes. Yeah, George, come on. They were just teasing. Don't take it seriously. Here, let me toast to you instead. Makoto jumped in to smooth things over, flashing a fake smile. I quickly raised my hand to block him. Makoto's smile froze awkwardly on his face. At that moment, some of Makoto's lackeys spoke up. George, Makoto invited you to the grand opening of his dance hall. That was a show of respect. Don't act so ungrateful. Exactly, be a bigger man. George, so what if Maria had a drink with Makoto? Are you really that petty? Maria marrying you was the worst luck of her life. Maria bit her lip, clearly troubled. Please, don't say any more. What's there to be shy about? He can't even compare to one of Makoto's pinkies. He doesn't deserve you at all. If you ask me, you should just divorce him. You and Makoto are the real perfect match. Makoto's lackey kept piling on the insults. I curled my lips into a mocking smile. Maria, is this why you wanted me here today? Maria's heart suddenly tightened, panic flashing across her eyes. She waved her hands frantically, stammering out an explanation. No, it's not like that. But before she could finish, I cut her off. Doesn't matter. If that's what you want, I'll give it to you. Maria froze, a flicker of anger flashing in her eyes. George, what kind of nonsense are you spouting now? She snapped. Everyone else in the room burst into laughter. Some even mocked me to my face. Knew it. He's just a simp, always thinking of Maria's feelings before his own. Well, who could blame him? Maria's got that charm. Without her, he probably wouldn't survive a day. Hey George, do you even think her farts smell like roses? Hearing all the flattery, Maria instinctively straightened her posture and gave a faint, satisfied nod. All right, no more sitting around. Someone called out to change the subject. Makoto, your dance hall specializes in ballroom dancing, right? How about a little performance for us? Makoto gave a show of hesitating, glancing around at the group. Well, ballroom dancing needs a partner. But his gaze clearly and deliberately landed on Maria. Someone jumped in right away. Maria knows how to dance, doesn't she? You two can do it together. Makoto immediately stood and walked over to Maria, politely extending his hand. A blush rose instantly on Maria's cheeks, her eyes full of feigned shyness, though they still darted toward me instinctively. I stared at her quietly, a cold smirk slowly forming on my lips. Makoto took her hand without waiting, and Maria let out a fake little gasp, draping her arm over his shoulder. Makoto naturally wrapped his arm around her waist. The music began to play. Maria and Makoto started dancing on the small stage in the private room. I watched them with a bitter smile, the entire scene drenched in irony. If her heart was never mine to begin with, even if I were to relive this life 1,000 times over, all I'd ever get would be coldness and indifference. Even a moth flying into the flame gets a moment of heat in the ash. But in my last life, I was like a madman, pouring every ounce of love I had into her. And in the end, it only led to both me and my daughter meeting a tragic death. Just then, outside the dance hall, 3 black sedans screeched to a halt at the front entrance. David stepped out with a briefcase in hand, followed by several subordinates. Inside the private room, the music reached its final notes. Makoto dipped Maria low, holding her waist as their faces moved closer and closer, locked in a gaze full of fake affection. I watched it all, filled with contempt. Maria, I wonder if your future self will regret this madness today. I truly look forward to that day. As the dance ended, Makoto smiled and leaned in closer to Maria. Her eyes were hazy, with no trace of resistance. Kiss, kiss, kiss. The crowd below cheered them on. Maria shyly closed her eyes, inching toward him. Makoto glanced at me smugly, then began lowering his head to kiss her. Just as their lips were about to touch, the doors swung open. David strode in excitedly. George, I'm here to pick you up. Everyone turned toward the door in surprise. Maria rushed over to me in a panic, confusion written all over her face. David, George, are you leaving? I slowly stood up, my face dark, eyes locked on Maria. What, should I stay and watch myself get cheated on? Maria's expression changed instantly, her voice rising in anger. George, what kind of nonsense is that? As she raised her hand to slap me, I grabbed her wrist midair and, without hesitation, slapped her hard across the face. Maria clutched her cheek, staring at me in disbelief. You actually hit me? Makoto immediately rushed forward, eyes blazing. George, are you out of your damn mind? I glared at him and let out a cold laugh, then slapped him too, hard. I warned you, don't mess with me. My voice wasn't loud, but it carried an authority no one dared challenge. Makoto staggered back several steps, eyes meeting mine, brimming with rage and shame. Clutching his face, he shrank away like a coward. I scoffed at his pathetic look and sighed lightly. Then I turned around, grabbed the divorce papers from David's hand, and threw them against Maria's chest. Sign it. Let's end this cleanly. Chapter 5. Maria stared at the divorce papers, her pupils contracting in shock, face filled with disbelief. She grabbed my arm tightly. This is what you wanted to tell me. You want a divorce? Before I could answer, Maria's girlfriend started laughing from the sidelines. You, divorce Maria? Come on, everyone here knows you're Maria's diehard simp. Who do you think you're fooling? Exactly. A simp should know his place. You think dragging a few people over here to put on a little show is gonna help you save face? Hearing that, Maria let go of my arm. She straightened her back, lifted her chin, and seemed to regain her confidence. George, you've really disappointed me. All this drama just to cling to your pathetic pride, and you even dragged David into it. She scoffed, rolled up the divorce agreement, and hurled it at me. Respect is earned, not staged. Playing mind games only makes me sick. I laughed angrily, shaking my head as I bent down to pick up the papers. Then I handed them back to her, eyes icy cold. Maria, are you blind? The divorce papers are right in front of you, and you call this acting? I don't have time for this nonsense. Sign it already. Let's end this and go our separate ways. Maria smacked the papers aside and roared with fury. George, don't you dare push your luck. I shot her a sidelong glance and replied coolly. I'm pushing my luck? Maria, from the moment you brought Makoto and his son into our home, from the moment you started being cruel and petty toward Alicia, you should have known this day would come. Maria's face turned ghostly pale, her tone suddenly softened. George, can you stop being so old-fashioned? Everything I did, it was for Alicia, for this family. Oh really? Letting Alicia eat leftovers was, for her own good. Flirting with Makoto right in front of me, that was, for the family. Maria, do you actually believe your own lies? I no longer held back. Right here, in front of everyone, I tore off her mask. Maria, clearly guilty, avoided my gaze. Embarrassment spreading across her face, she stammered. I waved her off, visibly impatient. Enough. I don't have time to listen to your excuses. Are you signing this or not? Maria's lips twitched, frozen in place, unable to answer. At that moment, Makoto stepped forward and, unbelievably, tried to threaten me. George, this is the grand opening of my dance hall. For my sake, don't cause a scene. Or else what? Makoto, who the hell are you to think your name means anything to me? The neon lights of the dance hall flickered, casting a harsh glow on my sharp profile. Makoto's face twisted with frustration, but facing my glare, he fell silent and backed away again. Maria, stop wasting time. I held out the papers again, but she smacked them out of my hand with force. George, will you knock it off already? Can't you see where we are? There are people watching. Just because you don't care about saving face doesn't mean I don't. Her face flushed with rage. She suddenly turned and shouted toward the corner. Alicia, take your father home. Don't let him keep humiliating us here. Alicia clung tightly to my clothes, looking timidly at Maria, but then, summoning all her courage, she lifted her little face and shouted back, I won't. Daddy isn't humiliating us, Mommy is. Maria's brow furrowed so tightly that her perfectly drawn eyebrows looked ready to shoot upward. Alicia, even you dare talk back to me. If I don't teach you a lesson today, I'm not your mother. As she lunged at our daughter, hands outstretched, I kicked her aside with a swift motion, shielding Alicia behind me with care. The room instantly fell dead silent. Maria gripped the wine table in pain, her red-painted nails dragging a screech across the tablecloth. George, you've really grown bold lately. Now you dare lay hands on me. First you bring people to cause trouble at Makoto's dance hall, then you try to threaten me with a childish stunt like divorce. I've tolerated you again and again. Did you really think I wouldn't turn on you? At that moment, David stepped out from the shadows with a cold, contemptuous snort. George, why waste your breath on trash like her? God knows how much Alicia's suffered all these years. I sighed softly and rubbed my brow with resignation. Sorry you had to see this. I spoiled her for far too long. She won't get the chance anymore. Maria's rage exploded. She charged forward and slapped me hard across the face. Oh, so now I'm the one who mistreated you. Huh, George? You want a divorce? Fine, I'll grant your wish. She snatched the divorce papers and scribbled her signature, then slapped them hard against my chest. George, don't you dare regret this. I gave the papers a cold glance, then calmly took my daughter's hand and walked out the door. Makoto hurried forward, sidling up to Maria with a faux concerned voice. Maria, did you really go through with it? George must have just acted out in a moment of anger. Maria looped her arm through his and casually brushed aside a stray lock of hair near her forehead. She replied with a sneer. Makoto, you're just too kind. I'm not really divorcing him. Signing was just to give him a way to save face. After he cools off at home, he'll realize what a mistake he made and come crawling back to apologize. Hearing that, Makoto let out a deep sigh of relief. A smug look soon spread across his face. Meanwhile, the private room filled once again with noise and laughter, as if nothing had happened. Chapter 6. Outside the dance hall, David patted me on the shoulder. Congratulations, George. You'll never have to live under her thumb again. I let out a long breath, the heaviness between my brows finally lifting. Yeah, I can finally do what I want, without holding back. From now on, all my time goes to my career, and to my daughter. David gave me a mysterious wink. Don't be so sure. On this trip to City A, I've got a surprise prepared for you too. You may not be that free with your time. Uncle David, what kind of surprise? Is it for me too? Alicia sniffled, her long lashes still glistening with tears. Of course it is, but I can't tell you yet. David laughed heartily and scooped Alicia up into his arms, gently placing her in the back seat. Let's go. Time to hit the road. That evening, Maria stormed back into the house. Panting, she tossed her bag onto the table and collapsed into the sofa. I'm exhausted. Who knew ballroom dancing could be so tiring? Makoto circled around behind her and began gently massaging her shoulders. No worries. I'll just take you dancing more often from now on. Maria closed her eyes, enjoying the attention, until suddenly, she snapped them open and shouted toward the bedroom. George, heat up some water. I want to soak my feet. No reply. Her voice grew sharper, fingernails tapping impatiently on the armrest. George. Lucas wandered out, rubbing his eyes. Maria, Mom. They took their stuff and left. Maria jumped to her feet and hurried to the bedroom. Half the wardrobe was empty. The framed photo on the vanity was gone. Even Alicia's little teddy bear had disappeared. Everything that belonged to George and Alicia was gone. Maria stood frozen in shock, her fingers gripping the doorframe tightly. Makoto hesitated for a second before stepping forward, putting on a concerned face as he gently comforted her. It's okay. You still have me and Lucas, don't you? Don't worry, Maria, I'll make sure you're happy. Meanwhile, in a sleek downtown office, David and a group of company executives were flipping through my project proposal. This proposal is way ahead of its time. From diversified business layouts to e-commerce, mobile internet, AI technology, I've never even heard of some of this stuff. So all this time you've been secretly building an empire back in your hometown. David's hands trembled slightly as he turned each page, eyes glowing with excitement. The manager with glasses leaned in, his lenses reflecting an almost fanatical gleam. Exactly. With George's proposal guiding us, we'll dominate the market in no time. George, you're a genius. I smiled faintly, my gaze drifting out the window to the distant skyline. The internet age is coming. Soon, people, processes, data, everything will be connected through the internet. It'll change how we eat, live, travel, even how we receive medical care, socialize, and learn. I turned back around, speaking each word slowly and clearly. I call it, the Internet of Everything. The Internet of Everything. The group echoed in unison. That's right. It's like a massive web spreading across the globe. If we seize this moment, we can build an unprecedented business empire. Just then, a crisp female voice rang out from the doorway. Something this exciting, and you were going to leave me out? I turned to see Willow, leaning casually against the doorframe, a handbag in one hand, a playful smile on her face. Auntie Willow. Alicia dropped her crayons and immediately ran toward her. Willow crouched down, nuzzled Alicia's cheek with her nose, then looked up at me, unlike someone, just standing there like a block of wood. I looked at Willow, surprise and joy interwoven on my face. In my past life, when Alicia and I were constantly mistreated by Maria, it was Willow who had stepped up to protect us time and again. After we moved down south, I never expected to see her again, yet here she was. David elbowed me in the ribs, pulling me out of my daze. Catgut your tongue. Say hello already. She came all the way here to invest, just because she heard you were coming. Oh. Miss Lou, no, I mean, Willow. My voice tightened slightly. Willow held Alicia's hand and walked up to me, extending her hand with a smile. George, it's been a long time. I shook her slender hand. It really has. I got it. Alicia clapped her hands suddenly, her face beaming. Auntie Lou is the surprise Uncle David talked about. David burst into laughter. Bingo. Our Alicia is still the sharpest one in the room. Now that everyone's here, let's settle the company name. Anyone got good ideas? Willow looked down and asked the little girl in her arms. Alicia, do you want to help too? Alicia tilted her head in thought, then her eyes lit up. Auntie Willow, I thought of penguins. Penguins? David instantly perked up. I actually really like that animal, loyal and united. What do you think, George? I looked into my daughter's hopeful eyes, then into Willow's smiling ones. I nodded with solemn agreement. Sounds great. Let's call it Penguin Tech. 1 week later, Maria stood in the kitchen, disheveled and greasy-haired, frantically scraping wilted, yellowing vegetables onto a plate. On the dining table sat a few shriveled multigrain buns, looking pitiful and unappetizing. Makoto, Lucas, breakfast is ready, she shouted hoarsely toward the bedroom. Makoto stretched and yawned, strolling out lazily. Lucas followed behind, eyes still bleary, and kicked away a stool that blocked his path. So noisy, Lucas grumbled as he plopped into his seat. Can't you stop waking me up so early? Maria's smile froze instantly. She forced a twitch at the corner of her mouth. Sorry, Lucas. Mommy was just, you're not my mom. Lucas scowled and cut her off without a shred of politeness. Maria froze, her hand still hanging in midair. Makoto quickly put on a show of scolding. Lucas, is that how you talk to your mom? It's fine, it's fine. Maria forced out a smile, quickly picking up a bun and handing it to Lucas. He's just a kid, he didn't mean it. Come on, eat up. But Lucas smacked the bun to the floor and shouted, I don't want pig food, I want meat, I want meat. Makoto sighed, feigning frustration. Maria, Lucas is still growing. You can't feed him stuff with no nutrition. Why don't you go buy some meat? Maria lowered her head, her fingers unconsciously twisting the edge of her apron. She spoke softly. Makoto, all the money George left behind was spent by you and Lucas. There's nothing left to buy meat with. Ever since I left, Makoto had been borrowing money from her nearly every day, for Lucas's toys, or for new equipment at the dance hall. The savings account had been drained dry. Each time, Makoto had made grand promises. Once the income from the dance hall starts coming in, I'll pay you back. But now, Maria, what's that supposed to mean? We spent all the money. If you don't want us living here, just say it. Makoto's face darkened, and he threw his chopsticks hard onto the table. Maria snapped out of her daze, panicking. And no, I didn't mean it like that. It's just, there really isn't any money left at home. Can't you save a bit from the dance hall's earnings for daily expenses? Makoto frowned, his tone growing impatient. The dance hall's broke too. There's barely any foot traffic. Expenses are still outweighing income. Maria's expression shifted to one of shock. She stammered, but didn't you say, we'd be making big money soon? How come? Before she could finish, Makoto's face had turned from pale to livid. So now you're blaming me, Maria. What the hell's wrong with you lately? Forget it. Eat your lousy food yourself. Lucas, let's go. Makoto grabbed Lucas, who was still yelling, and stormed out. The door slammed shut with a bang, rattling the picture frame on the wall. Maria sat motionless at the table, her eyes suddenly reddening. Her gaze fell on the bun that had rolled onto the floor. When George was here, I never had to worry about food or chores. Alicia never shouted at me. And yet, back then, she always slept in until noon. When she woke up, she'd see George in the courtyard doing laundry. When he saw her, he'd look up with a warm smile. Wife's up. I left the food in the pot for you. Still warm. Go eat after you freshen up. She always greeted him with a frown, unleashing all her morning crankiness on him. Scrub the shoes after you're done. Also, I've been craving fish lately. Make it for lunch. Okay, whatever my queen says. George would always agree cheerfully, smiling as he obeyed her every unreasonable request. At night, while she watched TV on the couch, George would sit quietly beside her, shelling sunflower seeds. Alicia would crouch on the floor, helping wash her feet, but she always complained Alicia was clumsy, and the moment anything displeased her, she'd scold with a sharp, piercing voice. Now, those memories pierced her heart like knives. Tears dripped onto the tabletop as she stared at the oil-stained apron on her chest. She whispered, George, I'm not mad at you anymore. Where did you and Alicia go? Chapter 7. At that moment, I was fully focused on the screen, typing away, completely absorbed in my code. Daddy, Auntie Lou is back with food. Alicia skipped into the room, her braids bouncing with every step. Willow leaned against the doorframe, holding a takeout bag. George, you've got to eat, even when you're working. As I reached out to take the food, I caught sight of a faint scar on her wrist. That scar, she got it in my past life, trying to protect Alicia from Maria's claws. Thanks. My voice came out a little hoarse. Willow smiled softly as she turned. A few strands of her hair brushed against the back of my hand, leaving behind a gentle scent of jasmine. 2 years later, I paced nervously in my office, anxiety and anticipation written all over my face. Willow sat in front of the computer, glancing now and then at her watch, a trace of worry in her eyes. It's done. The door burst open and David charged in, panting. I raised my trembling hand, holding high the certificate bearing the bright red stamp of approval. I stared at the thin sheet of paper as my Adam's apple moved visibly. Willow stepped forward quickly, gently running her fingertips over the embossed seal. This is amazing. I can't believe it went through so smoothly. David grabbed a water cup from the table, took several big gulps, and exhaled heavily as he set it down. From founding to going public, it only took 2 years. This caught the attention of the whole stock exchange. It's all thanks to Chairman Wong's planning. Otherwise, who knows how many detours we'd have taken. I shook my head, my voice warm but firm. Come on. Don't say that. This was a team effort. Everyone made it happen together. David chuckled. then suddenly seemed to remember something. He pulled out a stack of gold-embossed invitations from his pocket. Right, XD Chamber of Commerce in South Province sent several formal invites. They want you to give a talk on investment strategies. They say it's important for regional development. George, interested? I took one of the invitations and studied it for a moment before nodding thoughtfully. I wouldn't say I'm qualified to teach, but if I can contribute something to my hometown's growth, that's more than worth it. Perfect. I won't be able to go myself though. Miss Liu, I'll leave the honor of accompanying Chairman Wang to you. David gave a teasing wink. Willow's earlobes turned coral pink, but she coolly slipped the invitation into her handbag. The next morning, I boarded a flight to South Province with Willow and Alicia. Right after landing and settling into the guest lodge, Willow grabbed my wrist. George, you're South Province's featured investment expert now. You can't be seen looking like that. Come on, I'm picking out your outfit. I glanced down awkwardly at my simple shirt and slacks, but before I could object, Alicia clutched my fingers, her round eyes sparkling like honey. Daddy, just listen to Auntie Lou, okay? I smiled with resignation. All right, you win. When we arrived at the mall, Willow beamed and rushed into a men's clothing store. Beside me, Alicia tugged at my sleeve and whispered, Daddy, Auntie Lou is so nice. I wish she were my mom. I froze for a moment, then put on a fake stern face. Alicia, don't say that. Auntie Lou and I are just friends. Still, the tips of my ears betrayed me, turning visibly red. Alicia pouted. Daddy, you're so clueless. Auntie Lou likes you. Everyone knows it, except you. I couldn't help but laugh. I pinched her cheek gently. Alicia, say that again and no meat for you tonight. Alicia quickly covered her mouth, but her eyes curved into mischievous little crescent moons. The corners of my mouth lifted unconsciously as I gently tapped my daughter's nose with my fingertip. You little glutton. Daddy was teasing you. It's your birthday today, let's go pick out the biggest cake. Alicia bounced up onto her tiptoes, gripping my hand tightly in excitement. But just as we turned, our smiles froze on our faces. Maria. Mom. Maria stood right in front of us, arm linked with Makoto's. Her face shifted from surprise to anger in an instant. George, so you finally decided to show up? Do you have any idea how I... Maria, we're divorced. Whatever's going on with you now, it has nothing to do with me. My voice was firm, unyielding. Maria stiffened, her lips trembling slightly. I know when you handed me the divorce papers, you were just trying to save face. I let you have that. Even if you were just jealous or throwing a tantrum. Hasn't 2 years been enough? Her tone was tinged with grievance, like she was the one who had been wronged. I let out a cold chuckle, the look in my eyes turning sharper. Maria, your biggest problem is thinking the world revolves around you. With that, I turned and took Alicia's hand, ready to leave. George, don't you dare walk away, Maria yelled, fuming. Makoto immediately wrapped his arm around her shoulder, giving me a smug, taunting look. What's the rush, George? Maria told me you've been down south chasing your dreams. Judging by the way you look now, I guess that didn't go too well. Sure, there's money in the south, but not just any nobody can grab it. I paused, amusement flashing in my eyes. Oh, then what about you? You came crawling back. What happened? Even the dogs wouldn't take you in. My voice was quiet, but every word landed like a nail. Makoto's face turned the color of rust. Maria snapped like a cat whose tail had just been stomped. George, it's been 2 years and you still look like mud that can't stick to a wall. Her tone was full of disdain, as if the man in front of her was still the same pathetic pushover she used to control. Alicia pouted and protested unhappily. You're the mud. My dad is really awesome now. Childish words. Yes, but they hit Maria like a slap. Alicia, is that any way to talk to your mother? Ever since you left me, you completely lost your manners. And to think I used to worry I was too strict, turns out, I wasn't strict enough. I let out a sarcastic snort and cut her off. All right, drop the fake righteousness. Oh, by the way, how's your dance hall? Should be circling the drain by now, right? Makoto exploded. He jabbed a finger at my nose, shouting furiously, George, don't spout nonsense. Every business has ups and downs. Even if it did go under, I'm still better than a loser who couldn't even keep his wife. I raised an eyebrow, lips curling into a mocking grin. Is that so? Well then, cheers to your everlasting love, and may your dance halls open in every little village across the country. Makoto was momentarily stunned into silence, then quickly tilted his chin upward arrogantly. George, cut the sarcasm. A temporary setback is no big deal. Let me be real with you. We're here to attend the expert investment seminar. Today, I'll be learning the most elite financial strategies. I raised an eyebrow, my voice laced with irony. You too, at a seminar like that? Maria clung proudly to Makoto's arm. Makoto's brother-in-law is a leader in the Chamber of Commerce. Attending a lecture is just a word from him. But what about you? Why are you here? Don't tell me, you're stalking me. Alicia lifted her little face and declared proudly, my dad and I are attending the seminar too. Makoto blinked, then burst into uncontrollable laughter. George, you'll tell any lie to a kid, won't you? You, a loser like you, at this seminar? I opened my mouth to speak, but Maria waved impatiently and cut me off. George, since you finally bothered to show your face again, I'll let bygones be bygones. After things settle down, I'll have Makoto arrange a doorman job for you at the dance hall. Be useful for once, and maybe I'll even let you move back home. Her condescending tone was laughable. I waved her off immediately. No thanks, Maria. You two should worry more about repaying your loans and figuring out how to lose less money. Let's go, Alicia. Maria trembled with rage, shouting at my back. George, don't you dare regret this. After I left with Alicia, Makoto escorted Maria back to her guesthouse room. Then he turned toward the stairwell, pulling out his phone. 10 minutes later, a group of thugs gathered at the guesthouse entrance. Makoto, what's the rush? What's going on? Makoto's voice was cold and dark. George is back. One thug spat on the ground and growled. Hell no, he really dared come back. I never forgot the slap he gave you at the dance hall 2 years ago. Makoto kicked him hard. You dumbass, gotta bring that up. That bastard actually humiliated me in front of Maria today. If I don't break his legs, I'll never sleep again. Meanwhile, I was walking hand in hand with a cheerful, bouncing Alicia on our way to the cake shop. Behind us, Makoto and his gang silently tailed us. Suddenly, George, stop right there. Makoto and 3 thugs surrounded me. Makoto, what do you think you're doing? I moved Alicia behind me protectively, my voice sharp. Isn't it obvious? I'm here to teach you a lesson for not knowing your place. A thug with a gold chain spat at my feet. George, you think you can mess with Makoto and walk away? How many lives do you think you've got? Makoto swaggered toward me, hands in his pockets. George, you left without a word, and now you come crawling back to stir things up. What? Are you trying to get yourself killed? I stared coldly at them, alert. I came back and tried to avoid you. Don't flatter yourself. Suddenly, Makoto lunged and grabbed my collar. Cut the crap. Don't think I don't know why you're here. You're still chasing after Maria, aren't you? Well, give up that fantasy. Maria is my woman now. I'm divorced from Maria. I have zero interest in your pathetic drama. Now move. Chapter 8. I turned, grabbing Alicia's hand, ready to leave, but Makoto suddenly shoved me from behind. Alicia stumbled and nearly fell. I caught her just in time. Makoto spat on the ground and kept pressing forward. Get on your knees right now and lick my shoes. Maybe then I'll let you leave. Otherwise, I'll snap your damn legs. I stood still. Makoto spread his arms theatrically. Look at this loser. Can't even take a lifeline when it's handed to him. Hold him down. The thugs rushed in and slammed down on my shoulders, pinning me where I stood. Alicia leapt forward, biting one of the thugs on the arm. Let go of my daddy. Let him go. You little brat, you wanna die. Makoto grabbed Alicia by the collar, lifting her off the ground as her legs kicked in the air. My eyes burned with rage. Makoto, put my daughter down, or I swear to God, I'll rip you apart. Makoto threw his head back and laughed, then tossed Alicia to one of the thugs and pulled out a switchblade. Let this little bastard watch her daddy beg for mercy today. The blade flashed, but in the split second before it struck, I surged forward, broke free, and slammed a powerful hook punch straight into Makoto's nose. He staggered back, blood gushing from his face. Motherf, get him, break his damn legs. Makoto clutched his face, screaming hysterically. The thugs lunged again, fists raining down like hail. I shielded my vital points, but I was being forced back, blow after blow. Then, stop right there. A cold, commanding female voice cut through the chaos. You've got some nerve. Willow strode in, heels clacking sharply against the pavement, with several towering bodyguards behind her. She scanned the group with icy eyes before locking onto Makoto. The bodyguards dropped their gift bags and quickly subdued the thugs with ease. One guard stepped forward and kicked Makoto hard in the gut, sending him sprawling. Makoto curled up, groaning in pain. Who the hell are you people? Alicia seized the moment to break free. She ran, crying, straight into Willow's arms. Auntie Lou, those bad guys were hurting me and Daddy. I rushed forward and knelt down beside Alicia, checking her carefully. You okay? Did they hurt you? Alicia shook her head. I looked up at Willow, our eyes met, and we nodded in silent understanding. Makoto staggered to his feet, trying to bark out more bravado. I'm talking to you. Who the hell do you think you are? Willow shot him a cold glare and slapped him hard across the face. Apologize. Makoto roared back. Do you even know who I am? He clutched his stomach, his gold chain swinging wildly. My brother-in-law Paul is a board member of the XD Chamber of Commerce. Smack. Another slap. I said, apologize. The bodyguard stepped forward again, and Makoto started retreating in panic, throwing up his hands. Okay, I'm sorry, all right. He forced the words through gritted teeth, eyes full of venom as he glared at me. Get lost. With a single command from Willow, Makoto and his thugs slunk away, utterly humiliated. As they disappeared down the street, Willow turned to me. He was, I sighed, Maria's first love. An awkward look flashed across Willow's face. She quickly changed the subject. Anyway, try on the clothes I picked out for you. Let's see if they fit. That's when I noticed the neatly stacked shopping bags on the floor. Alicia trotted over obediently. Auntie Lou, do I get new clothes too? Of course you do. Willow crouched down and gently pinched her cheek. It's your birthday today, Alicia. Auntie Lou even got you a present. Alicia clapped her hands with joy. I couldn't help smiling at the heartwarming scene in front of me. The three of us returned to the guest room to change. Not long after, both Willow and Alicia stepped out dressed in formal outfits. You look amazing, Alicia. You're like a little fairy. Alicia looked up at Willow with her bright eyes and said earnestly, Auntie Lou, you're so nice. I wish you were my mommy. Willow's cheeks turned scarlet in an instant. What? That depends on what your dad thinks. Alicia patted her chest and promised solemnly. Don't worry, Auntie Lou, I'll make sure you become my mommy. Willow laughed, then playfully tapped Alicia on the nose. You little rascal. Just then, the sound of the door opening drew their attention. They turned together, then gasped in surprise, covering their mouths. I stood in the doorway in a perfectly tailored black suit. The clean lines and precise fit brought out my tall, refined frame. It was as if I'd become a new man. Wow, Alicia exclaimed dramatically. I scratched my neck, suddenly nervous. Why are you two looking at me like that? I tugged at my tie awkwardly. Is it weird? I can go change. No. Willow rushed forward to stop me, without noticing Alicia's mischievous little foot sneaking out. Ah. Willow tripped forward, and I instinctively opened my arms. She crashed straight into my chest. For a moment, our eyes locked, and time seemed to freeze around us. Alicia stood nearby, giggling behind her hands, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Auntie Lou's face is so red. She peeked through her fingers and teased. You two are being mushy-eye. Chapter 9. A rapid knock at the door shattered the tender moment. Is Expert Wong here? The provincial leaders are arriving at the venue. They're here to present your award. President Song pushed open the door but choked halfway through his sentence. Am I interrupting something? Willow quickly stepped back and lowered her head, smoothing her hair to hide her embarrassment. I cleared my throat awkwardly. And not at all. President Song, what brings you here? Well, the provincial leadership heard that you and Miss Liu are here to share investment experience and give back to your hometown. They've specially arranged to present you with the 21st Century Outstanding Young Leader of South Province Award. I need to greet them briefly. The lecture will begin shortly. Please head in and mingle with the guests. I'll rejoin you soon. Of course. Please go ahead. President Song gave me a knowing smile before turning and leaving. Willow was too embarrassed to raise her head. My ears were still burning red. Meanwhile, in another guest room, Maria stood in front of the mirror, carefully doing her hair. Makoto barged in, face twisted in rage. Damn it, that bastard George actually sent people to beat me up. Maria glanced at him through the mirror, her voice calm and dismissive. Oh, come on. If he had that kind of power, I wouldn't have kicked him out like a stray dog in the first place. Seeing Makoto still fuming, she turned and patted his arm lightly. Relax. After the lecture, I'll help you get even. Makoto leaned by the window, smoking with fake hesitation. Maria. I think George has gotten involved with some rich woman. Rich woman? Maria snapped her compact shut with a clack, then sneered. Makoto, are you seriously suggesting that a loser like George could attract a rich woman? Makoto opened his mouth to respond, but Maria grabbed his arm. Stop overthinking it. George is my simp. Always has been. Come on, the lecture's about to start. Let's focus on business. They stepped into the grand hall. The crystal chandeliers lit up the marble floors like mirrors. Maria's eyes swept greedily across the room filled with men in tailored suits. Wow, no wonder it's an XD Chamber of Commerce event. So upscale. Makoto puffed out his chest, pride written all over his face. Of course, a lecture of this caliber isn't open to just anyone. See all these folks. South Province's top private business owners. Each one worth at least a few million. We make a few connections here, and expanding the dance hall to the provincial capital won't be a dream anymore. Maria nodded eagerly, her eyes gleaming with ambition. As the two of them walked toward the crowd, nearby chatter drifted into their ears. I heard this Expert Wong took a startup public in just 2 years. That's unheard of, even nationwide. Right. My clothing factory's been running for over a decade and I haven't even sniffed the IPO threshold. Man, comparing yourself to others just makes you miserable. They say Expert Wong rarely appears in public. To see him in person today and learn from him, it's exciting just thinking about it. As Maria and Makoto approached, several guests turned to glance at them. Makoto quickly pulled a business card from his pocket and presented it with both hands, full of flattery and anticipation. Hello, seniors. I'm the owner of a local dance hall. My name is Makoto. Here's my business card. The surrounding guests looked at him with thinly veiled disdain. Maria quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. We're indeed just small-time business owners, but thanks to the help of Mr. Paul Kim from the XD Chamber, we were lucky enough to attend today and meet all of you. We hope to learn from you. Makoto eagerly added, Yes, Director Kim is my brother-in-law. The moment the name, Director Kim, was mentioned, the crowd's attitude shifted instantly. Smiles bloomed as greetings were exchanged. Just then, a stir rippled through the entrance of the hall. Willow and I walked in, hand in hand with a beautifully dressed Alicia between us. The three of us had a striking presence, and all eyes immediately turned our way. Makoto's face changed in an instant. He tugged at Maria's sleeve. Maria, do you believe me now? George, dressed like that, there's no way he could afford such a suit on his own. Look at him, acting all high and mighty. He's clearly being kept by some rich woman. Maria's expression darkened. She clicked across the floor in high heels and stormed up to us. George, what are you doing here? Get out. I frowned at her. And what does that have to do with you? Guests around us began to gather curiously. Makoto stepped in with smug arrogance. Maria and I are at least legitimate business owners, a part of the private enterprise circle here today. What are you doing here? Came to broaden your horizons with your sugar mommy. George, no offense, but even if you snuck in, you probably wouldn't understand a single word of the lecture. Don't waste your time. I gave a cold laugh. And you dare call yourself a private entrepreneur? Makoto, let me give you a word of advice, don't come messing with me again. Next time, I won't let it slide. Maria crossed her arms and shrieked. George, is that how you talk to Makoto now? 2 years out of town and suddenly you've grown a spine. Then she turned her eyes on Willow, scanning her up and down with jealousy. And why are you with her? What's your relationship? Maria, don't you think you're being a bit too nosy? I replied coldly. Too nosy? George, I'm your wife. The room erupted in murmurs. Wait, what? He brought a woman and a kid, but she says she's his wife. Man, the world's really gone downhill. People began whispering and pointing at us. Maria clenched the strap of her purse, her blood-red nails digging into the leather. George, I'm your wife, and now you bring our daughter and this woman to a seminar, and I'm not even allowed to ask about it. Willow's eyes narrowed. She took a step forward and said coldly. MS, Maria, you'd better watch your mouth. Oh, did I say anything wrong? Maria sneered, the eyeliner around her eyes warping with rage. What? You can do it but can't handle hearing about it. Willow, George is my man. Alicia is my daughter. You've got the nerve to tag along with them, and I'm calling you a homewrecker, which is being too kind. Willow clenched her fists so tightly her knuckles turned white, but she forced herself to hold back. I stepped forward without hesitation, placing Willow behind me protectively. Maria, how many times do I have to say this? We're divorced. Who I'm with and what I do is none of your business. And as for Willow, she's my friend, so show some damn respect. You. How could you take her side? She's just a homewrecker. Maria's face twisted with fury. She suddenly grabbed Alicia by the shoulders. Alicia, tell mommy, when did this fox start seducing your father? You're not allowed to talk about Auntie Lou like that. Alicia snapped, glaring at her. Maria's breath caught in her throat, and she screamed. I'm your mother, Alicia. Even you are taking her side now. Tears welled up in Alicia's eyes. You're not my mom. You never loved me. I hate you. Maria's face contorted for a split second, then locked eyes with Willow, her voice laced with venom. Well played, Willow. In just 2 years, you not only stole my men, but even turned my daughter against me. Do you enjoy tearing other people's families apart? Willow curled her lips into a mocking smile. MS, Maria, George and I have a clean conscience, and if Alicia isn't on your side, maybe you should take a good, hard look at yourself. Maria's breathing grew heavy, but she still spat her words out stubbornly. What tricks did you use? I would never seduce someone else's husband like you. Sensing the rising tension, Makoto tugged at Maria's arm. Maria, what's going on here? You two know each other. Know each other? Maria's eyes blazed with hatred. This woman, Willow, she used to visit my house all the time 5 years ago. At first I thought she was just a nosy do-gooder. Turns out, she had her eyes on George all along. I remembered that night, it was pouring rain. Maria had kicked Alicia and me out of the house, all because I'd used my wages to buy our daughter her first new coat in 2 years. Willow, passing by, had held an umbrella over us, only to be met with Maria's hysterical curses. And now, under the public spotlight, Maria still hissed at me. You'd better explain exactly what kind of relationship you and Willow have. Otherwise, I'll never forgive you. I stayed calm, voice cool and even. Maria, we've been divorced for a long time. You have no right to question me. Maria trembled with rage. You. George. How dare you? Chapter 10. At that moment, an older businessman stepped in to smooth things over. Everyone, calm down. No more arguing. He turned to me with a look of stern concern. Young man, I have to say a few words. You're still young. Why waste your time cozying up to some rich woman instead of learning a proper skill? You're embarrassing us private entrepreneurs. I tilted my head, surprised. I'm embarrassing you, the man continued. Now, I'm not trying to lecture you, but young people should stay humble. You need ideals, ambition. Look at all of us here. Even at our age, we're still learning. I let out a sigh and chuckled softly. You're not wrong, just aiming it at the wrong person. Seeing the conversation was going nowhere, I turned to leave, but Makoto suddenly stepped in, blocking my way. Everyone heard that, right? With that kind of attitude, what right does he have to be here? I say they're just here to stir up trouble. A few murmurs rose from the crowd. I agree. Leeching off others and disrespecting elders, someone like that doesn't belong here. He's a disgrace to the whole chamber. Throw him out, I say. Maria immediately chimed in. Exactly. This is a lecture by the esteemed Mr. Wong. Not just anyone should be allowed to attend. She turned to me, her tone haughty. George, I won't hold what just happened against you, but Makoto and I have serious business to attend to. We don't have time to play house with you. Leave now. I stared at her silently for a moment, then let a cold smile tug at the corners of my lips. And if I say no, smack. A sharp slap rang out. Red marks immediately bloomed on my cheek. I turned my head, the anger in my eyes barely contained. Daddy. Alicia ran over sobbing, her little hand trembling as she reached for my swollen cheek. In a flash, Willow stepped between us, eyes gleaming with fury. Maria, have you lost your mind? Maria scoffed and raised her chin defiantly. He's shameless and pushy. Are we supposed to just stand by and watch you disrupt Mr. Wong's lecture? Suddenly, Alicia charged forward and shoved Maria with all her might. Don't you dare bully my daddy. Maria stumbled back, her heels screeching against the marble floor. Alicia, you dare lay a hand on me now? You ungrateful brat, after all I did for you. Tears spilled from Alicia's eyes. You never did anything for me. Daddy took care of me. You never cared, never looked after me. You don't deserve to be my mom. Maria's pupils contracted. She pointed a trembling finger at Willow. It's you. You poisoned her against me. Enough. My voice rang with fury. Maria, ask yourself, what have you ever done for Alicia? I advanced step by step, my tone sharp. Have you ever cooked her a meal, bought her clothes, celebrated even one birthday with her? Maria looked evasive. I was busy playing mahjong, busy shopping. The only child you ever cared about was Makoto's son. If you'd shown Alicia even half the care you gave that boy, she wouldn't have left without the slightest regret. She's right. You're selfish. Maria, you don't deserve to be her mother. The crowd began whispering and casting judgmental glances that pricked Maria's back like needles. What do you know? She screamed hysterically. I'm strict with her for her own good. For her own good, I sneered. Then what about Makoto's son? You buy him the latest sneakers. Take him to Disneyland. That's what you call for her own good. Sensing the tension, Makoto quickly jumped in. George, your own daughter isn't likable. Why are you blaming Maria? My gaze turned cold, and I slapped him across the face. Makoto clutched his cheek, staring at me in disbelief. You ***king dare hit me. Do you even know who I am? My tone was icy. Do you know who I am? Just then, the crowd suddenly parted. Chairman Kim stormed over with 2 security guards, and Makoto ran toward him like he'd seen a savior. Brother-in-law, this guy hit me on your turf. Chairman Kim gave me an arrogant once-over. Kid, who the hell are you? Why have I never seen you before? I was about to speak when he cut me off. Enough. Who you are doesn't matter. Today's seminar affects the entire South Province's investment direction, and the future of every private entrepreneur here. You dare cause trouble here? Are you trying to ruin the South Province? Drag him out. The security guard stepped forward to seize me, but Willow's cold voice cut through. What are you doing? Let him go. You're Chairman Kim, right? You've got some nerve. These people might not know who we are, but you, as a business council chair, you don't know either. Chairman Kim looked at Willow with complete disdain. Why should I know? I, Paul Kim, may not know every industry heavyweight, but most of the top private entrepreneurs in South Province are my friends. On my turf, I'm somebody. I don't bother remembering every random lowlife who shows up. Makoto hurried to add, brother-in-law, this woman's just some nouveau riche heiress, and that guy's her boy toy. I don't know how they snuck in. Just get them out before they ruin our welcome for expert Wong. Chairman Kim looked at me in disgust. Boy toy, and you're this young, already running around doing shady crap. Take your sugar mama and get the hell out. Slap. Willow's palm landed hard on his face, the crisp sound silencing the whole venue. You bitch, you dare hit me. Chairman Kim roared, covering his face. Security, what are you waiting for? Lock them up in the security office. I'd like to see who dares. Willow's voice was sharp and commanding, her piercing gaze freezing the guards in place. She looked at Chairman Kim with contempt. Blind idiot. If it weren't out of respect for Chairman Song, you wouldn't even qualify to meet George. Listen up, George is the Strategic Investment Director of Penguin Tech. He's the investment expert personally invited by Chairman Song. How dare you try to kick him out? What? George is the investment expert. Maria and Makoto gasped in unison. At this moment, murmurs began spreading through the crowd. No wonder, they don't look like ordinary people. And when I first arrived, I think I saw Chairman Song talking to them. This is going to be good. Looks like Chairman Kim just picked the wrong fight this time. Chairman Kim stood in the middle of the crowd, brows tightly furrowed, his eyes shifting between Willow and me as if weighing his options. Makoto anxiously ran to Kim's side. Brother-in-law, don't listen to that bitch. This guy has nothing to do with expert Wong except sharing the same last name. Paul took a deep breath, suppressing his irritation, and asked in a low voice, Miss, you claim George is expert Wong. Do you have any proof of that? Willow's gaze was sharp as a blade as she stared him down. How ridiculous. It was your Chairman Song who practically begged us to come and share investment strategies. Now you want me to prove our identities. Chairman Kim, if Jordan finds out this is how you handle things, what do you think he'll do to you? You, don't try to intimidate me with big names. Kim snapped. You think I don't know how capable this George really is, brother-in-law? Makoto was practically jumping in frustration, the veins on his forehead bulging. Paul's face darkened. He waved a hand to cut him off. Enough. Can you calm down for once? But brother-in-law, why are you siding with them? This George is a nobody. If we don't kick them out now, once the real expert Wong arrives, how are we going to explain this mess? Smack. Chairman Kim slapped Makoto across the face and glared at him with bitter disappointment. You useless idiot. How many times have I told you, don't panic in situations like this? What are you rushing for? You say he's not expert Wong. Do you have proof? Makoto's eyes turned dark and resentful, and he gritted his teeth. Brother-in-law, what kind of proof do you need? George is just some backwater bumpkin who crawled out of the suburbs. He's never even seen real wealth. And come on, someone like expert Wong, no way he'd be clinging to a sugar mama. He's with a sugar mama. Kim's brows drew tighter, his tone now laced with doubt. Exactly. He dumped his wife 2 years ago just to please that bitch. I was there when they divorced. Brother-in-law. Think about it. How could someone as accomplished as Expert Wong be such a heartless, shallow jerk? Just then, someone in the crowd quietly chimed in. Chairman Kim. What he said kind of makes sense. I mean, someone with such twisted values, there's no way they could have achieved that much in their career. Right. I mean, he looks what, maybe 30, and you're telling me he brought a company to IPO in just 2 years? That's impossible. I let out a cold laugh, my eyes like ice as I swept my gaze across the crowd. Why can't someone succeed at 30? Just because you failed doesn't mean the rest of us have to go down with you. Since when did the world work that way? Chapter 11. Chairman Kim's eyes were cold and sinister as he stared at me for a few seconds, as if he had finally made up his mind. You punk. There's no way you're Expert Wong. Just a clown trying to make noise on my turf. Guards, take them away. I swiftly shielded Willow and Alicia behind me, my gaze icy, but my voice unnervingly calm. Chairman Kim, I suggest you think carefully before making any decisions. You're ready to move on me based on a few words from them. If you arrest the wrong person, can you answer to Jordan when he returns? Willow stepped forward as well, feigning a friendly reminder. Chairman Kim, since you're an executive of the business council, I assume you can still tell right from wrong. If you get manipulated into a mistake and cause trouble, your position may not last much longer, don't you think? Beads of sweat began to form on Kim's forehead as he wrestled internally. Just then, Maria suddenly rushed forward, pointing at me and yelling, "Enough from you all. George, this whole scene, you're just stirring drama to steal the spotlight. Do you even realize where you are? This isn't the place for your tantrums." Willow gave a mocking laugh. Maria, you're truly full of yourself. You lived with George for years. Did you ever really try to understand him? Maria was enraged, shouting, "Shut up, you home-wrecking slut. Who are you to judge my men? No one knows better than me what George is capable of." Willow stood her ground, calmly retorting, "Then you really have zero self-awareness. Of course, you've looked down on him from the beginning. How would you have known anything about him, the way you treated him all these years? Everyone in town knows about it. Besides, you're divorced now. Even if I admire him, what does it have to do with you?" Upon hearing that, Maria suddenly snapped, screaming like a madwoman. She lunged forward, trying to tear at Willow's dress. "So this is your true face, huh? Willow, you parade around like a lady, but behind closed doors you're just a shameless tramp. George, what's so good about that bitch who's been ridden by thousands and cursed by 10,000? Is she really worth abandoning your wife for?" My eyes turned cold in an instant. I raised my hand and delivered a sharp slap across Maria's face. 10 years of marriage, and this is how you insult me, and insult her. Maria staggered backward, covering her face as tears streamed down uncontrollably. "You actually hit me for her. George, I'm your wife. I gave my youth to you for 10 years. How could you treat me like this?" A sneer curled at the corner of my lips, and I turned my head away, refusing to look at her. Makoto seized the chance to rile up the crowd. Chairman Kim narrowed his eyes and waved his hand. "Take these troublemakers away." The security guards shoved the three of us roughly toward the exit. Inside the security office, I groaned as my back hit the wall. Willow quickly moved to support me. Suddenly, the door was kicked open. Makoto's gang of thugs stormed in. "You think we forgot about last time? Time to settle the debt." The lead thug kicked me hard in the stomach, though his eyes were glued to Willow. Damn, how did I not notice this chick was this fine before? If I get a turn with her tonight, this whole trip to the provincial capital will be worth it. The gang exchanged sleazy grins and started closing in on Willow with lust in their eyes. Gritting my teeth through the pain, I threw myself in front of Willow to shield her. Out of respect for our hometown ties, I'll give you a word of advice, don't do anything stupid. But the thug shoved me away with force. My head slammed into the corner of a table. Blood immediately started streaming down from my forehead. Another thug pinned Willow against the wall, already fumbling with his belt in desperation. Willow struggled, fear flashing in her eyes. Just as the thug was about to press himself onto her, a sharp voice rang out from the doorway. "Stop right there." Makoto entered with Maria by his side. "Idiots, if something happens in here, no one's gonna be able to save your asses." Makoto kicked the thug aside and looked down at me. "George, the big shot Expert Wong, not enjoying your time in the security office? How about this? Get on your knees, apologize to me, and I'll have my brother-in-law let you go." Maria chimed in softly. "Just swallow your pride." "All right." Willow couldn't hold back. "You want George to kneel and apologize to him? Maria, do you still not see the truth? He really is." Before she could finish, Maria slapped her hard across the face. "You're the one who doesn't know her place. Calling him George like you two are lovers, how sweet. You filthy tramp, dressing like some classy woman, but all you know is how to seduce men. You were born to be trash." She raised her hand to strike again, but I grabbed her wrist in midair. "George, you can't even protect yourself and you still want to play the hero for this slut. You want to protect her so badly, then I'll make sure you watch as I ruin her." Maria's eyes burned with hatred as she glared at Willow. She suddenly snatched Makoto's glass. "Let's see if boiling water can melt that pretty little face of yours." I clenched her wrist tightly. "You're insane. I want to destroy her." Ignoring my warning, Maria flung the cup of scalding water straight at Willow. Chapter 12. At that moment, a commotion erupted at the entrance of the auditorium. Chairman Song strode in with provincial officials at his side. Paul rushed forward in panic. "Chairman, you're finally back. This must be the legendary expert Wang, such an extraordinary presence." "Paul, this is a provincial leader, mind your place. And isn't expert Wang supposed to be in the auditorium? What are all of you doing out here?" Chairman Kim stumbled backward, nearly falling as his voice trembled. In the auditorium. Then, that George is expert Wang. "Paul, what kind of stunt are you pulling?" Paul's knees went weak. Chairman, expert Wang. He's in the security office." Chairman Song's pupils contracted, rage overtaking him. "You locked up expert Wang." Without another word, Chairman Song slapped Chairman Kim so hard he was knocked to the ground, then stormed toward the security office with his team. Inside the security office, Maria's eyes widened in disbelief as she watched me shield Willow from the boiling water with my back. Her lips trembled, the jealousy in her eyes burning like fire. "You'd go that far for her? For that used-up slut? She's really worth it to you?" My back burned painfully, but I stood tall. "Maria, you make me sick." The words stabbed into Maria like a knife. She suddenly grabbed the hot water bottle on the table and smashed it onto the floor. Scalding water splashed everywhere. Glass shards scattered across the ground. Willow pulled Alicia behind her and backed up until her back hit the wall. Maria let out a twisted laugh, then lunged forward and grabbed Willow by the hair. "George, since you're so into this filthy seductress, I'll let you watch how I destroy her with your own eyes." "Let go of Auntie Lou," Alicia cried and threw herself at Maria. Makoto seized the moment and kicked me behind the knee, forcing me to kneel. "Keep your eyes open, expert Wang." He grabbed my head and forced me to look. Maria dragged Willow toward the broken glass. Alicia clung tightly to Willow's leg. "Get off, you ungrateful little brat." Maria raised her foot, ready to kick Alicia, just as a thunderous voice shouted, "Bastards, stop right there." Chairman Song burst through the door with his men. I broke free in that instant, lunged forward, and shoved Maria hard away. "Are you all right?" I asked, gently helping Willow up, unable to hide the pain and concern in my voice. Alicia threw herself into Willow's arms, her face soaked in tears. Chairman Song, his face dark with fury, walked up to me and bowed deeply. "Expert Wang, it's my failure in leadership that allowed this to happen. I deeply apologize." Maria stood frozen, as if struck by lightning, her lips drained of all color. Makoto tried to speak up one last time. "Brother-in-law, he's just a slap." Chairman Kim backhanded him hard. "Shut up, you've ruined me." He turned to Chairman Song, fell to his knees. "Chairman, Chairman Song was drenched in cold sweat. He turned around and roared, "Paul, from this moment on, you are expelled from the business council." Paul remained on his knees, begging, but was kicked aside. "Do you know how much effort the business council put into inviting expert Wang? You blind, worthless mutt, how dare you show disrespect to him? You trying to ruin the council and the entire South Province." Maria suddenly threw herself at my feet. "George, I was wrong. For the sake of our 10 years, I stepped back, my gaze cold and merciless. Slowly, I raised my hand. Smack. That one's for Willow. Smack. That one's for Alicia. Smack. And this one's for me." Maria collapsed to the floor, half her face swelling up, eyes wide with terror. Makoto shrank into the corner, cold sweat soaking through the back of his flashy shirt. Suddenly, he dropped to his knees with a thud and pointed at Maria, screeching, "George, I'm innocent. It was all Maria. She misled me. Without her, I wouldn't have dared mess with you even if I had 100 lives." Maria's head snapped up, her eyes filled with venom. "What did you just say?" "Makoto, I only crossed George for your sake, you bastard." "Bullshit," Makoto barked back. "You're just a filthy snake." Smack. Another slap from me shut his mouth, shaking the sting from my hand. I turned to Chairman Song. "These people, leave them to you." Chairman Song instantly understood and barked out orders. "Notify every chamber of commerce in the province, starting now. Makoto's nightclub is blacklisted." I glanced at the thugs trying to slip away. "And as for you, go turn yourselves into the Public Security Bureau. Now, Mr. Wang." Makoto suddenly lunged forward and clung to my leg. "That nightclub is my life, please." I kicked him away without hesitation. Makoto and Maria were dragged out. Chairman Song bowed to me once more. "Expert Wang, I apologize on behalf of the council for everything you've endured today." I waved my hand. "Chairman Song, this wasn't your fault. No need to blame yourself." Just then, the previously silent provincial leader stepped forward with a warm smile. "I've long heard of expert Wang's reputation, and to see you so young in person is even more impressive. With talents like you, our nation's future is bright indeed." An aide stepped forward with a gilded trophy. "This is the Outstanding Youth of the 21st Century award from the provincial government. I hope you'll accept it." I tried to decline politely, but Governor Liu insisted on placing it in my hands. Everyone then moved to the auditorium to begin the seminar. Later that night, outside the nightclub, Maria pounded frantically on the tightly shut door. "This is my nightclub. You can't just lock me out." The bank manager sneered and threw a stack of documents in her face. "Yours. You lied on your financials to scam a loan, and you still think you have a claim. Keep dreaming. Wait for the police to settle accounts with you." Makoto sat slumped on the ground, hollow-eyed, then suddenly snapped, slapping Maria across the face. This is all your fault. You damn jinx. Of all people. You had to mess with George. You cursed us both. Makoto, do you even have a conscience? I mortgaged my house to help you open this place. I haven't even finished repaying the loan. How dare you blame me? That's on you, not me. You did this to yourself. Now get lost. I don't want to see your face again. At that moment, the sound of police sirens grew louder, approaching from afar. Makoto, you're suspected of fraud. Come with us. As the cold handcuffs clicked shut around Makoto's wrists, Maria collapsed to the ground, and on the giant advertising screen of a distant skyscraper, the image of me giving a speech was playing, its dazzling light so bright she couldn't open her eyes. Chapter 13. The next day, I pushed open the old wooden door of my family home, holding the property deed in hand. Willow followed behind, gently holding Alicia's hand. It's been 2 years since I was last here. I ran my fingers along the familiar grain of the doorframe, overcome with emotion. Thanks to the help of the officials, after everything that happened, the house my father left behind is finally back in my name. Willow stood quietly by my side, a soft, gentle smile on her face. Just then, Alicia looked up earnestly and said, Auntie Lou, this is your home now too. She blinked mischievously, like, forever kind of home. Before Willow could respond, the courtyard gate suddenly burst open. Maria stumbled in, disheveled and frantic. Her clothes were a mess, but when her eyes locked onto mine, a crazed glint lit up in them. Honey, I knew you wouldn't stay mad at me. I knew you still love me. I yanked my arm free from Maria's grip. What are you doing here? This is our home. Her voice was pleading, but the moment she saw Willow, her expression turned cold and venomous. What's she doing here? Willow stepped forward, her tone laced with sarcasm. Maria, have you already forgotten? You illegally mortgaged George's family home without his permission. What's it to you? Maria shrieked. She turned back to me, her voice instantly soft and sweet. Honey, I know I was wrong. Can't we start over? Start over, so you can keep mistreating Alicia, or maybe look for another chance to hand over everything I own to Makoto. Suddenly, Maria dropped to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. I have nothing left now. The nightclub's shut down. The house is being auctioned off. Even Makoto is. She clung tightly to the hem of my pants. For the sake of our 10 years of marriage, I bent down and pried her fingers off me, one by one. Maria, it's been 10 years. Have you ever once cared about this home? About us? Maria opened her mouth, but no words came out. Get out. I roared, turning away from her, not sparing a second glance. Maria, her face streaked with tears, slowly walked out. The courtyard fell silent once more. Alicia ran up and grabbed my hand. Daddy, don't be mad. It's my birthday today. Willow smiled and gently ruffled Alicia's hair. How about we head inside? It's Alicia's birthday. I'll cook a few dishes, and we'll celebrate properly. Yay. Cake time. Alicia cheered, pulling both of us toward the house. Candlelight flickered warmly inside, illuminating 3 smiling faces. With her hands clasped together, Alicia whispered, I wish Auntie Lou could be my mommy, and I hope Daddy can be a little braver. My ears turned bright red, and the fork in my hand clattered onto the plate. Willow lowered her head, stirring her tea. The tips of her ears tinged pink. Daddy, hurry up and say something. Alicia stomped her foot anxiously. You clearly like Auntie Lou. You even sneak peeks at her photos in the middle of the night. Willow, I stammered, palms sweaty, until I finally looked up, only to meet Willow's smiling eyes. I accept. Her voice was sincere, and her fingertips quietly rested on the back of my hand. Alicia squealed with delight and stacked our hands together. This is amazing. Auntie Lou is my mommy now. Daddy, Mommy, from now on, we'll be together forever. 1 year later, Maria, wrapped in a tattered cotton coat, rummaged through a trash bin for food. Suddenly, a familiar burst of laughter echoed nearby. She looked up abruptly and saw me holding Alicia's hand. My other hand intertwined with Willow's. Alicia wore a pink puffer jacket, her cheeks rosy as she looked up, chatting away, making Willow laugh so hard she bent at the waist. Maria instinctively reached out, but the moment I turned my head, she quickly ducked and used her greasy, messy hair to cover her face. Daddy, that beggar's staring at you. My eyes briefly passed over the pile of trash. Then I calmly adjusted Alicia's hat. Don't know her. Let's go. The setting sun stretched our 3 shadows long across the pavement. Maria turned her face away, tears falling like rain.